Hi, my name is Rick Vieira, and I am the pastor of Community Life here at Northside. Well, we've been speaking about this word entrusted lately, and today I want to speak to you about being entrusted by God to reach all nations. First, the definition of that word entrusted, it means one of two things: to be assigned the responsibility for doing something for another, or to put something into someone's care or protection. And in this case, God has assigned us the responsibility to reach all nations. When we think of that, we think of what's known as the Great Commission, and that's spelled out for us in Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 and 20 say this: "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." You see, many theologians believe that these were the very last words of Jesus before he ascended into heaven. Another account of this can be found in Acts chapter 1, verse 8 says, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth." And see, the geography of that is, when they say Jerusalem, that's really referring to the city that we're in. And then when they expand from there, all Judea and Samaria, that means the further geographic area surrounding that. And that'll go as far as to the very ends of the earth. See, and paying attention to the fact that these were the very last words of Jesus should lend some extra importance to that. See, just imagine today if this was the last day you got to speak to your family, your friends, your loved ones. What would you say to them? Would you give them some wisdom you've learned over the years? Or would you leave them with some parting words of how to live and what's most important? See, this is what Jesus was doing here. He was saying, until I return, this is what's most important to focus on. That we are to not only focus on reaching those in our closest geographic area, but to reaching people in all nations and all surrounding areas. You see, there's a saying out there that says if two people are responsible for feeding the dog goes hungry. And the premise there is that if one person is always thinking the other person is doing it, and consequently the dog never gets fed. See, that applies here spiritually, that if we're assuming somebody else is reaching those other people outside of our geographic region, then maybe nobody is doing it. And so Jesus is having us focus on that very thing by his last words, to focus on not just our closest people, but those in surrounding areas, even in other nations as well. And that's why I'm so excited that we have such a robust local and global missions department and ministry here at Northside, that we have the opportunity to live out this great commission on our lives on a regular basis. You see, that's even been true in my life. Recently, my daughter and I had the opportunity in December to go to the people in Western Kentucky and minister to those people that were affected by those devastating tornadoes there. And then most recently, just last month, we had the opportunity to go to Guatemala along with 330 other Northsiders and minister to the folks there. And while we spread the good news and the gospel message to thousands in Guatemala, it really paled in comparison to the joy and the blessing we received by being able to live out this great commission in our lives. See, there's really no greater joy than being able to live out the great commission in our lives. And Jesus is saying that to us here today, to focus on this very thing, that it's our responsibility and our privilege and honor to go and reach people in other areas and even in other nations. So the question is, we've been entrusted by Jesus to reach all nations, and what will we do with that privilege and that opportunity? Well, that's it for now. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our Northside YouTube channel, where you can get all our teachings on a regular basis. Until next time, God bless.